About the three amigos, let's go back to the people. Well, for the first time in 30 years, my friend, country Australia has a right to have a voice. And you obviously believe that we shouldn't. Now, if you're asking me to get together proposals that'll rescue and deliver the survival of rural Australia in the space of 1 week, well, yes, we've tried to do it and we haven't made a bad fist of it, I can tell you. Now, you take it up with the two leaders, because we're still waiting for detailed confirmation on certain areas of policy. And if you think I haven't got the right to put that up on behalf of rural Australia, well, you're right. I haven't had the right for 30 years, people like me, but now we have got it. And I'm not going to be apologising to you or anyone else for exercising it, I can tell you.
Passionate beginning. Let me ask you...
It's not a matter of me making up my mind. It's a matter of the two leaders making up theirs, Tony. I mean, I've made up my mind that you give me that and you'll get the gong for as Prime Minister of Australia. And if you don't, you won't. Right. That's the power I've got, and I'm going to, let there be no doubt that I'm going to wield it to the best of my ability for those people. Response from both parties, and, we're analysing that response and also giving them a chance to respond to our response to their response. And I mean, it's sure nice to be in a position where they have their headaches at long last, instead of us having to sweat over every decision that we've tried to get and losing every decision. But look, I think it is timely that I say it at this stage, Tony. It is about time that Australia realised that you now have a country without any manufacturing base whatsoever. You have 16% car manufacture. You had nearly 80%, this time before all this rubbish and free market stuff came upon the scene. No. There are people laughing because they seriously think that this free market's a great idea. Well, it sure would be a great idea if some other country on earth was doing it.
Hold
Horror. We have to consult with people before we put legislation through. We just haven't got a big party rubber stamp that just turns it out. I mean, I don't know whether anyone notices this, but there are no questions in the Parliament. When I went in there, after being there 3 months, they said, here's your question you're going to ask. And I said, no, that's great, I'm going to ask the question. No, I've got my own question. So they said, no, that's the question you ask. I said, I'm not going to ask that question. And so I didn't ask any questions for 7 years. I'm not down there as a ventriloquist dummy rubber stamp. But that is what you got. You've got a Woolworths and Coles of democracy, and there is no other... I mean,
Does that make you Aldi?
that have two-party government. I mean, it is a primitive 18th century form of government. And I mean, I don't know if people read books, but if you read... but I honestly don't. Because if you've read, the great de Tocqueville, the tyranny of the majority, he constantly reiterated that theme. And so also did John Stuart Mill on liberty, the tyranny of the majority. What you are watching here over the last 25 years is a tightening of the tyranny of the majority. And I represent the people that are particularly suffering as a result of that. And we're not Robinson Crusoe. Nick loves the two-party system. Peter loves the two-party system. Yes, because it doesn't take into account the feelings of the people. We don't get a say. I mean, 3 months ago, they decided... half a dozen people decided they didn't like the Prime Minister, so threw him out on his head. I mean, is that democracy at work?
But that you said you'd walk backwards from Burke if there are any gays in your electorate, because it's been interpreted as a homophobic remark.
No, there was a second half to that, and John Laws put it on about 5 mornings in a row because there was a humorous element. And I mean, look, if we can't crack jokes in this country, I think we may as well close down. We want the freedom to be able to say things. And if you say things at times that may be offensive to some people, a lot of people say a lot of things that are offensive to me, I can assure you. And I'm sorry if I've offended somebody or said something offensive, but geez whiz, I cop about 20 of them a day. Every one of those 20 points that I put down there, and I could be wrong here, but concerns millions of Australians. Mm-hmm. This is not something that concerns millions of Australians.
I disagree.
And I don't mean to denigrate the issue, but I'm just saying to you that there are serious problems. The gentleman touched on suicides. I can tell you what are fanning them. I can tell you exactly where the heartland of the suicides is. It's where the dairy industry was deregulated by both major parties. That was where it is in the Kennedy electorate, and that is where it is in Australia. And both parties were told that before they deregulated that industry. Now, a couple of big chains made an awful lot of money out of that decision. And these people lost 30% of their income out of that decision. And they were bankrupted. I had 240 of them. Now there's 60 left. I spoke to Rob Oakeshott left yesterday. He had 160. He's down to 50 now. Now, every one of those people that went bankrupt, that is just the most terrible thing for them. And
you are one of 3 men in this country that get to decide the leaders of this country. You seem to focus on North Queensland. There's a bigger picture here. We're in a war. We have many, many people throughout this country who are discriminated against every single day. It affects their children. It affects their families. Yet you seem to deny the fact that the rest of the country is out there. When are you going to take consideration for the rest of the country and the bigger picture and actually look at the hard questions?
You're entitled to criticise me if you read the 20 points. Obviously you haven't read the 20 points, because if you had, and if you'd listened to me tonight, I did not mention agriculture. I mentioned manufacturing. I don't have a manufacturing electorate. You said I was just looking after the people of North Queensland and Kennedy. We're not a manufacturing area. And my first question tonight was answered on the basis of manufacturing, and I referred to the motor vehicle industry. So, I mean, your prejudices are flashing neon lights, my friend.
No, they're easy. They're the easy answers.